Hi, one of us. We are Sports Picks. He's Mike Brenner and Peter Loshak. We are the odds couple. Today is March 30th. MLB starts this Sunday, actually.
Baseball.
Mike Brenner and I are going to continue our look at the various divisions in Major League Baseball. Right now, we're going to take a look at the AL West.
God, Pete, it seems like just 2-3 months ago, actually 2 weeks ago, it seems like we were doing the victory parade with the Cubs.
Right. So the AL West this year contains maybe the Chicago Cubs of the American League this year and the Houston Astros. There are a bunch of outfits who are predicting them to be just an absolute to run away with the American League West and maybe even to have value, to win the World Series. Yeah, they have an awesome lineup filled with with like 4 different guys who are projected to be either MVP candidates this year or MVP candidates in the near future.
But what you mentioned this morning in our live show, Pete, talk about it. The pitching might be the issue.
So the pitching is the issue, and the pitching is not that it's expected to be bad. It's that there are some ominous signs, obviously some great signs. Keuchel, of course, his ceiling based on his recent performances in recent years could be pretty high, but last year was definitely a down year for him, right?
It was. How does he bounce back?
Right. Lance McCullers, same deal. Kind of a high ceiling and a low, high ceiling and a low floor. That's right.
And look out for injuries with him.
So health is going to be a huge issue, which is an uncertainty with the Houston's pitching staff. And again, with the pitching staff, the ceiling is high overall, and the floor is low. They're going to score a lot of runs. And at Houston, that hill was taken out of the center field, and the center field fence were moved in a little bit. So I'm thinking we might see some overs with Houston this year.
Yeah, that's what you were talking to a friend of mine with about, not Texas now, just in Houston, because they took
Houston.
that hill out. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Pete, I thought they opened up at plus 175 or something in that range to win the AL West, Houston.
To win the AL West?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
No, they're the extreme favorite, I think.
No, but it opened at, that's what I had saw an opener, plus now it's plus 400. I don't know.
To win the AL West?
Yes.
No, that's wrong.
All right, well, that's what I looked at, and I can show you the webpage.
They're plus 600 to win the World Series right now, so there's no way they're plus 400.
Well, I could go out there right now, and I could show you, so
plus
obviously.
Plus 400 to win the AL West?
That's what it says, and I'll show you
let's do a hard cut on this one and go check it. Go check it, yeah.
Can you want me to take a screenshot?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, now Mike Brenner has presented me with the evidence, and the evidence, interestingly here, that Mike Brenner has presented me says that Houston is plus 120 to win the AL West.
Okay, but it opened at plus 175.
That's right.
Okay, there's also a 140 because that's only showing you that won't slide over, Pistol Pete. There's
that's right.
other books that have their lines a little further down. You're going to see a 140.
So where was the plus 400 that you said?
No, I said it was 140 instead of 400. That was the mistake I made.
Oh,
I thought you were saying the plus 175.
Oh no. Okay. So what are the odds then for them to win the AL West?
The AL West then right now you can get them at plus 140.
Okay. All right. Yes. Okay.
But they
not
opened it plus 175.
Right. Yes. And they were never plus 400.
No, and I saw that wrong, and I own that one.
Okay.
Pistol Pete.
Okay. Yes.
Own that
Houston is a massive favorite in some people's eyes to run away with it, and so we will see. I'm thinking that if the pitching holds up, they've also got a strong bullpen.
Yeah.
So if the pitching holds up, they will be a good bet, despite the high expectations. And I'm also looking for overs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of overs because, like you said, that offense is going to crank it up. And Altuve said he's in better shape than he's been in. They got 2 other young up and comer guys as well. That's a young team, buddy.
Okay, then let's talk about Texas. Of course, Texas last year was a hugely profitable team. They won a ton of 1-run games though, which is has to be at least a little bit fluky. Might be completely fluky. And this year they might take a significant step back, at least they'll win their games, but in terms of their betting value, they might be one of the good teams to fade in the early going, and especially depending on the health of Darvish and Hamels. There kind of be 2 teams when Darvish and Hamels start and when the rest of the rotation
and again, it's a situation that comes down to the pitching. And last year, Darvish showed that he has that capability of being injury prone.
Yes.
Hamels is getting older, and they're he's throwing a lot of pitches per game. His pitch count was up last year, and I really think that is a team that's not going to be able to win all those one-run games.
Yes.
Pete. That's not a fluke, but it doesn't happen back to back to back.
So they're a good team, probably not a great team, and the question is how will they be valued, and how will they be valued when various starting pitchers start?
They're definitely on the watch list.
Yeah, my sense is, if I had to make a guess right now, that they'll be in the bottom half of the money standings and probably a decent, or at least a slightly decent fade. But we'll see. And also, I'm looking for overs with them as well because their offense will be productive. Then we have Seattle, which is a very interesting team. They have still the core of stars that has made them good over the past bunch of years, but they're getting older. And we're not exactly sure what we're going to get from them. The stars are still the same names, right? Iwakuma, Hernandez, Nelson Cruz, Robinson Cano. Kyle Sager, and the issue is just
and
how
Sager went through an injury-riddled season as well, and that really affected him. But like you said, Nelson Cruz, that guy is definitely getting older. All right, Robinson Cano, is he going to be energized this year? There's a guy that kind of brings it when he wants to. Used to wear that hat you're wearing. Matter of fact, Robinson Cano. Pete, I got a feeling that's a team that's not going to be able to match what they did in the last year or two.
Right. I agree with you. There's a lot of uncertainty. This team probably has the most uncertainty of all the teams, I would say, definitely in the AL West and maybe in the American League. They aren't going to be improved defensively. I'm thinking maybe we might see some unders with them if the pitching can hold up, because the bullpen could be above average at this point, but they do have a closer who's a flamethrower, so that might be
true.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't have any expectations for them as far as evaluation or as far as totals are concerned. But this guy Paxton, he's injury prone, but he might be an under the radar guy, an undervalued guy. If they're going to have one starting pitcher,
and
who might have value. So I would look to maybe bet on Seattle when Paxton starts. When Felix Hernandez starts,
I don't know. I'm going to start fading him, especially the second half of the season, if he makes it that long without getting injured. But last year, we saw the decline in the second half.
Yes.
He even admitted, he said he was more tired in the second half of that season than any other season. So, you're right, Pete. And they might be overvalued coming out. You may see some minus 200s or 180s with him.
Sure, especially with, and the issue with him is he's not that old, but he's thrown a lot of innings. Sometimes pitchers like him, like we saw with Justin Verlander last year, I mean, he might bounce back like Justin Verlander did. But
something tells me with this guy, I really think early. I think in the early part of the season, he's going to take time to adjust. I think he might get just absolutely pounded early.
Yeah, I mean, he'll have his games where he does get pounded, as has happened at game
and on the road especially.
So in general, I have no expectations for Seattle except to bet on them when Paxton starts. And then we have the Angels in Oakland, two really teams that are not necessarily terrible, but compared to all the other teams in the American League, like the Indians, the Red Sox, the even Seattle, even Texas, even Houston, they look like they're in for a lot of losses.
They do, and what's really sad about that is L.A. Angels ought to be ashamed of themselves with the amount of their payroll. They have a large payroll, and they just keep underachieving. And until Scioscia's gone, because I don't believe he's gone yet, I don't think that team's going to turn a corner, Pete. I think you're right. I think you fade them, and their pitching is very suspect.
Yes, their pitching is suspect. They did make some effort, though, to improve their defense, and their lineup appears to be a little bit improved as well. So I'm not quite as down on the Angels as I am on Oakland. Oakland looks like a team pretty much in free fall. They're kind of like
Billy
a team that, it's not working. They kind of like don't really have like veterans to make them win now. They don't have youngsters to build for the future.
They took the movie off of Netflix.
And it's just and the starting pitching it could be okay, but Sonny Gray, who knows what you're going to get from him. And again, it's not necessarily that I look at them and think they're awful, but I look at them and think of them playing all these other teams, and I just don't.
And they're not under the radar anymore whatsoever. Very, very good point there.
I think they're going to lose a lot of low-scoring games. So in general, I would vaguely look to fade Oakland and also maybe look for unders depending on how their pitching holds up.
Absolutely. Good call there, Pistol.
So that's it for the AL West. But my sense is, in general, I'm a buyer when it comes to Houston. I'm a buyer and a believer, and maybe they'll underwhelm, but I'm tending to agree more with the people who see them as having a runaway favorite status right now than the people who see them as closer to the rest of the pack.
And that's the same for myself, Pete, because I think the offense is going to be so powerful, and that's going to be a trending team for over. And if their pitching stays healthy, you better look out. So obviously, somebody's on to something with Houston.
Agreed, Mike Brenner.
Well, this episode of The Odds Couple is over. But if you give us a like and click SBR's logo at the bottom of the screen to subscribe, then you'll get all the upcoming videos as soon as they come out. And don't forget to take advantage of our website. There's free picks, live betting lines, and sportsbook reviews and ratings guides, and a whole lot more. Check it out now.